Question: what is luck? Can I increase my luck? If so, how can one increase his or her luck? Well, what is luck? I think most people would say that it's when good things happen to you and you don't really understand why it happened and what you did to make it happen. It just happened. So you feel that I was lucky. And can I increase my luck? Yes, you can, actually. Because if you understand reincarnation and karma, you can say, is there such a thing as luck? Or is it what you would call good karma from a past life? So you have this old question, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, it's because those good people have karma from a past life. But you can also say, why do good things happen to both good and bad people? Well, it's because they have some positive karma from a past life. So that a situation suddenly resolves. So this is one thing. So what can you do then? Well, you can certainly do something to transmute your karma from past lives. And that is, one way to do this is to increase, invoke spiritual light from your ascended masters, which is what I talk about in my spiritual toolbox playlist, where I talk about violet flame energy, violet flame decrees that invoke spiritual light. You can also use other spiritual techniques to transmute karma. So the more karma you transmute, the more likely it is that good things will happen to you. But another really important aspect of this is your psychology. Because I have a couple of videos where I talk about the law of attraction and manifestation. And it's obvious that your state of mind will have an influence on what happens to you. I talk about the universe being a cosmic mirror where it can only reflect back to you what you're projecting into it. So if you're projecting into it that, oh, I'm just not lucky and nothing good ever happens to me, all these other people are lucky but it never happens to me, you are sending a signal into the cosmic mirror that I don't want to be lucky. I want to experience what it's like not to be lucky. But if you overcome that psychology, these subconscious selves, and get into a state of mind where you don't have a deficit attitude to life, you have a positive approach to life, you are open to good things happening to you, and even if good things don't happen or if bad things happen, you don't let it get you down. You're still positive, you are generally in a grateful state of mind. You you can see that some people are in this state of, we might call it, they're expecting the worst. They're kind of grumpy with life, always like they're looking for validation that life is not good. And when they get it, then they focus on that, and if something happens that counteracts it, they just ignore that. So you can overcome that by looking at these subconscious selves. Why do I have this attitude? It goes back probably many lifetimes. And then you can overcome that psychology. You can get into what I would call a grateful expectation of life, where you're expecting that good things happen. I can look back at my life and I can see that I was generally actually always in this grateful expectation state of mind. I had some years that were very difficult after I moved to the United States, where I had to take all kinds of strange jobs to make a living, but I still was generally in a positive state of mind. I can see that there were some periods where it got me down a little bit, and it was especially obvious. I had one job where you would go to a warehouse, you would get some framed wildlife prints, put them in your car, and then you would drive to some kind of town. You would go around door to businesses and try and sell these prints right then and there, and often paid cash. And if I was in a somewhat negative state of mind, it was clear I wouldn't sell as well as if I was in this grateful expectation state of mind. And sometimes I would just be, and it's not about expecting something or demanding something. It's actually about being in a positive state of mind, but without having specific expectations. So I know there are a lot of people that will say, oh, you need to have a goal, right? So they would say, you need to have a goal. You're going to sell 10 prints today, 10 pictures. But I never did that. But I can just see that sometimes I was able to be in that neutral state, not expecting a particular result, but expecting good results. And then it was like you would get on a momentum, and one sale would lead to another, and you'd meet somebody and say, oh yeah, I know this guy over there, he might be interested, go over there, and you'd get over there and he'd buy something. And so it would just become a positive thing that was rolling. And then there were other days where either I didn't have the attitude or I was just not in a place where people were interested in buying. Then you just have to accept that, and then you have to move on and not let it get you down. In other words, you never allow yourself to build a negative spiral. And I understand that it's easy to say this, and that's why I said in my videos about law of attraction and manifestation that you can't just try and program yourself with all this positive stuff. You have to do the work looking at your subconscious selves and why you might have a negative attitude to life. You look at history and you see how many, let's say you've been embodied in the last several hundred years, several times. Most societies have been poor, and the likelihood that you were poor in several lifetimes is very high. So you could have these subconscious cells built up over these lifetimes. And if you really want to increase your luck, you need to look at them, overcome them, dismiss them, let them die, and then you will naturally be in this grateful expectation state, and it will attract things to you because you are projecting into the cosmic mirror, this is what you want to experience. And you know, Jesus said 2,000 years ago, fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And that's basically the state you have to get yourself in, where you resolve all of these subconscious selves that tell you otherwise. And you get into this point where you have made peace and you realize God wants the best for you. And there may be some limitations based on your society and based on other people around you and this and that, but still, God wants the best for you. It's like you can ask yourself a simple question. What is my basic approach to the world I'm living in? Do I live in a hostile universe or do I live in a friendly universe? And if you can see that you think you live in a hostile universe, you have some serious subconscious selves that you need to look at. And I've given the tools for this in several of my videos. And if you really do the work, you can resolve them. And when you get to the point where you see that you are living in a friendly universe, this is what you're projecting into the cosmic mirror, and this is what the mirror will project back to you. And you will attract to you people who are also in a positive state of mind, and you can do something positive together that benefits everybody. It becomes a win-win.